All right, I'm going to go through these a little quicker. Religious freedom. This is a big one to me. Religious freedom falls under your freedom of conscience, your freedom to pursue your relationship with God according to your own dictates, your own conscience. In other words, it's not government's role to tell you how and what to think. A good example is my grandpa said something one time. And what exactly he said isn't as important as what he said to me. I said, Grandpa, you can't just say stuff like that. He said something I can't. He said, I didn't go fight the Nazis. He's a World War II veteran, served under Patton, 2nd Infantry, got 3 Bronze Stars. He said, I didn't go fight the Germans so I could come home and be told what to say and think. And that burned an impression into my mind, in my heart. And I was like, okay, you win. I'm done. I'm not gonna fight you over that one. But the freedom of conscience is what balances the concerns raised by people who fear biblical principles in government. This is a big one. Some people fear the biblical principles being applied in law will lead to a theocracy. Well, if you have the freedom of conscience, that balances it out. That's what makes it work and keep it a free society. We have a false dichotomy that's thrown to us. That's a very common thing in politics, the false dichotomy. You are either red or blue, left, right, Republican, Democrat. You can't be anything else. Anything else, you're free. But the false dichotomy, you're either a godless nation or a theocracy. Either God has nothing to do with government, or we are a theocracy run by the church. Let me take this off. It's just not working. If the separation of the church and state, as we've been taught, was true, then we have some problems, because kids praying in school. When kids are told not to pray in school, the government's telling them they can't pray. They're regulating their conscience. Where's the separation of church and state there? It doesn't mean that the biblical principles can't be taught. Okay? It means they have the exercise to freely pray. They're free to exercise their faith. Doesn't mean that churches are granted their charter by the government either. In other words, we've accepted the premise that a church, in order to be formed, has to go to the government and apply and become a corporation. Once we do that, the church puts itself under the jurisdiction of the government. Check out some of Chuck Baldwin's comments and sermons even. But Chuck Baldwin has spoken about this quite a bit. I'm not going to go deep into it, but I encourage you to check it out. The government taxing and using, like I say, once the corporation model is used, the taxation laws are used to leverage. They're used to control and manipulate. I want to share something that Charles Finney. Someone taught me about Charles Finney. I didn't know this guy until a few years ago. And one of my I like my fringe friends. I call my fringe friends the ones that are a little out there. Every now and then they will bring something up that just totally makes sense. And he said, check out this Charles Finney guy. This is what Charles said. Brethren, our preaching will bear its legitimate fruits. If morality prevails in the land, the fault is ours in a great degree. Now he's speaking to fellow Christians, and I believe even fellow pastors. If there is a decay of conscience, the pulpit is responsible for it. If the public press lacks moral discrimination, the pulpit is responsible for it. If the church is degenerate and worldly, the pulpit is responsible for it. If the world loses its interest in religion, the pulpit is responsible for it. If Satan rules in the halls of our legislation, the pulpit is responsible for it. If our politics become so corrupt that the very foundations of our government are ready to fall away, the pulpit is responsible for it. Let us not ignore this fact, my dear brethren, but let us lay it to heart and be thoroughly awake to our responsibility in respect to the morals of this nation. We have gotten to the point where the foundations of our government are ready to fall away. The government is a reflection of the people. Government isn't what's broke here. It's a symptom of it. The people are broken. And that's where the JBS and several organizations like them are the most important. They are the front lines right now. Not me, not the politician. Okay, I'm just the knucklehead representing other people. Okay? Those people are the front lines. And you are the ones that can make it or break it. And I'm not pushing for JBS here so much as the idea that it's our job to reach out and to disciple others in a way, and reach out to our fellow man and say, look, there's some principles that we're missing here. There's some things you might be interested in, and take it on a case-by-case basis. Never look at it as a farmer. If you see fertile soil, if you see hard soil, cultivate it. If you see cultivated soil and it's fertile, plant the seed in their mind of the person. If the seed's sprouting, water it. If it's bearing fruit, support it. If it's harvest time, help the man out. Help them and rejoice with them. So people are at different phases with it. Some people haven't been bit yet. There's times where you might reach out to somebody and they practically spit in your face and say, get out of here, you're a nut, you're an extremist, I don't want anything to do with you. 3 years later, they call you up and say, I'm sorry, man. For what? That time I told you such and such. Yeah, I was wrong, dude. Oh my gosh. And then you find out that they're worse than you at that point. That's always fun. But yeah, Congress, Washington, D.C., Raleigh is a reflection of the people. Somebody voted them there. And I'm afraid what I have seen in my time in office is people who are conservative, who have the knowledge, who are the salt of the earth. They're not showing up and voting, man. They're not even plugged in anymore. Some of them wash their hands. Now, I see a lot of Christians, they have this attitude, well, Jesus is coming back anyway, so I'm going to grab my popcorn, I'm going to get my lawn chair, watch the world go to hell, and just enjoy the show, because he's coming back anyway, and I'm just going to sit here and wait. Well, my approach is we're supposed to fight the fight until the sky splits, man. Don't just sit there and watch it happen. Fight. Whatever way you can, as much as you can afford to. You have a voice, you have a gift, you have a talent, use it if you feel led. There will be a time, though, where you will have to make a choice. Right now it's an option, but I think a day's coming where you'll have to make a choice. You're going to have to choose what you're going to be, who you're going to serve, and what you're going to represent.
This message is paid for, produced by me, David Waddell. I approve this message.